In January 2026, a major offensive by the Syrian transitional government against the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces fundamentally shifted Syria's power dynamics. Following 2 weeks of intense clashes, a US-mediated ceasefire was announced on January 18, 2026, effectively ending the SDF's decade-long semi-autonomy in northeast Syria. Context of the 2026 clashes. The offensive. Beginning in early January, Syrian government troops and allied Arab tribal forces captured strategic territories, including the city of Raqqa, the Tabqa Dam, and major oil and gas fields such as Al-Amar. The agreement. Under the 14-point ceasefire, the SDF agreed to withdraw from Raqqa and Deir ez-Zor province and move to Hasakeh. The SDF will be integrated into the Syrian National Army on an individual basis rather than as a distinct unit. Concessions to Kurds. To ease tensions, Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara issued a decree recognizing Kurdish as a national language, granting Syrian citizenship to many Kurds and making Nowruz a national holiday. Broader regional consequences. The collapse of Kurdish autonomy has significant implications for regional stability. Turkey PKK, peacemakers. Turkish officials believe the removal of Kurdish territorial control along the border could remove a major obstacle to ending Turkey's decades-long conflict with the PKK. Resurgence of ISIS. The SDF's withdrawal has left the security of prisons holding roughly 9,000 ISIS members in a volatile state. Attacks on facilities like the Al-Shaddada prison have already been reported, raising fears of a large-scale ISIS breakout that could destabilize the broader region. Shifting alliances. The rapid government takeover, supported by Arab tribal forces, may marginalize Iranian influence in eastern Syria and force a total reassessment of the US military presence in the region. Humanitarian crisis. Over 500 Kurdish families have already fled into northeastern Syria to escape the fighting, with experts warning of further waves of displacement and potential sectarian violence. Minority concerns. The move has alarmed other regional minorities, such as the Druze and Alawites, who fear the new central government's ability to protect their rights despite official assurances. As of January 19, 2026, the ceasefire and peace solution between the Syrian transitional government and the Syrian Democratic Forces has entered a critical implementation phase. The agreement, facilitated by US envoy Tom Barak, aims to end over a decade of division by integrating Kurdish-led regions back into the Syrian state. Key components of the peace agreement. The 14-point deal, signed on January 18, 2026, includes several landmark structural changes. The reintegration. All SDF fighters are to be merged into the Syrian Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Interior on an individual basis. The government rejected the SDF's request to remain as distinct Kurdish units. Territorial handover. The SDF has agreed to immediately surrender administrative and military control of the Deir ez-Zor and Raqqa provinces, which are Arab majority and rich in oil and wheat. Resource and border control. Control of all international border crossings, as well as the country's major oil and gas fields, will shift to the central government in Damascus. Expulsion of the PKK. The agreement explicitly commits the SDF to expelling all non-Syrian members of the Kurdistan Workers' Party from Syrian territory, a move highly welcomed by Turkey. Civil rights for Kurds. Kurdish is now recognized as a national deal spread alongside it and will be taught in schools. Restoration of citizenship. The decree annuls the discriminatory 1962 census and grants Syrian nationality to thousands of Kurds who were previously stateless. Nowruz is now a paid national holiday in Syria. Immediate challenges and risks. Despite the official ceasefire, the peace solution remains extremely fragile. Ongoing clashes. On January 19, 2026, fresh fighting broke out near the Al-Shaddada prison in Hasakeh. The SDF reported losing control of the facility, which houses thousands of ISIS prisoners, to unknown gunmen. The
transfer of responsibility for thousands of ISIS detainees from the SDF to the central government is viewed as a ticking time bomb. The US remains involved in oversight to prevent a mass breakout. Minority mistrust. Many Kurdish leaders remain skeptical of the transition, noting that rights granted by temporary decrees must be enshrined in a permanent constitution to be truly secure. Legend of Thou, Turkey views the deal as a success in dismantling Kurdish autonomy, but remains